What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the hottest stories shaking up the MMA world. From Deiveson Figurito's questionable conditioning ahead of his clash with Cory Sandhagen, to Islam Makhachev's lightweight reign coming under fire, there's no shortage of drama. We're talking fighter readiness, legacy-defining matchups, and major backstage tension. Yeah, we've got it all. We'll break down why fans are worried Figurito might be slipping, how Makhachev's silence is holding up an entire division, and the chaos caused when Chael Sonnen accidentally leaked Porier versus Holloway before the UFC could even announce it. Oh, and if you thought Machado Gary was ready for a title shot, think again. Sean Brady has a few choice words for him, and we're covering every angle. Whether you're Team Porier, backing Sandhagen, or just here for the drama, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and let's jump into the madness. Deiveson Figurito is set to face Cory Sandhagen in a high-stakes bantamweight matchup at UFC Des Moines, but recent developments have cast doubt on his readiness. Images circulating online show Figurito looking bloated and seemingly out of shape, sparking widespread fan concern about his conditioning and weight management. While it's common for fighters to fluctuate physically during training camps, the timing of these photos, so close to fight week, has amplified anxieties. Many fans fear that Figurito could struggle to make weight or to deliver a peak performance. Comments across social media speculate whether he's behind in his prep, with some even betting he'll miss weight. The uncertainty stems partly from the unclear timeline of the photos. No one knows exactly when they were taken. However, optics matter in the fight game, and public perception is already shifting. With a dangerous, technical opponent like Sandhagen waiting across the cage, any slip in preparation could prove disastrous. This bout was meant to re-establish Figurito as a top contender, but now questions surround whether he's even physically ready to compete. When Deiveson Figurito transitioned from flyweight to bantamweight in 2023, the move was widely seen as a positive step. At 135 pounds, he no longer had to endure the brutal weight cuts that often drained his energy and performance. Early results supported this decision. Figurito looked rejuvenated, scoring strong wins over Rob Font and Cody Garbrandt, and putting in a gritty effort against Marlon Vera. His competitiveness in a close fight with former champion Petrien further solidified his presence in the bantamweight elite. However, the recent images of a bloated Figurito have fans wondering if the easier weight class has led to a more relaxed and less disciplined approach to training. Instead of struggling to make weight, some now suspect he may be too comfortable at 135 pounds, sacrificing the sharpness that came with those strict weight-cutting camps. The balance between health and discipline is delicate in MMA, and while the move was initially a rejuvenation, it may now be exposing cracks in Figurito's preparation.
De paixão, aprendi a gostar desses caras com o irmão. E falei para eles, eu quero trazer minha família do Brasil e viver essa vida de atleta aqui. Eu no Brasil, o Brasil é país que são...
Islam Makhachev's reign as UFC lightweight champion is under growing scrutiny as he continues to remain inactive following his last title defense in January. Despite dispatching late replacement Renato Moicano, Makhachev has yet to commit to his next opponent. Reports suggest he may be eyeing a move to welterweight, depending on the outcome of the UFC 315 title fight between Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena. This has led to frustration among fans and fighters, as the 155-pound division, arguably the UFC's most stacked, is in limbo. Critics argue that the title picture is frozen while contenders like Charles Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan, and Mateusz Gamrot are left in uncertainty. With the champion potentially shifting divisions, many are calling on the UFC to take action, possibly by instituting an interim title to keep the division moving. Makhachev's silence is starting to feel like neglect to many within the MMA community. While champ aspirations are understandable, they shouldn't come at the cost of halting one of the promotion's most competitive weight classes.
He's just going to get close enough, and I think that people always underestimate me when they come back to my distance, my footwork, and they don't realize how hard it is to get a takedown on me until you're actually in there with me.
When you took this fight, and Ali's talking to Sean Shelby, were you like, all right, fine, we'll take this fight?
Diego Lima, head coach and manager of Charles Oliveira, has been one of the most outspoken critics of the current state of the lightweight division under Islam Makhachev. Frustrated by the champion's indecision and inactivity, Lima argues that the UFC must intervene to maintain momentum in one of its deepest weight classes. From Lima's perspective, Makhachev's consideration of a move to welterweight without vacating the 155-pound title is effectively holding the division hostage. He points to Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan, both eager and deserving contenders, as examples of fighters being unfairly sidelined. Lima even draws comparisons to Ilia Topuria, who vacated his featherweight title to pursue lightweight ambitions, highlighting the need for clarity and decisiveness. The situation is especially aggravating considering how Oliveira was overlooked as a replacement for Arman in Makhachev's last defense, despite having earned that spot with a win over Michael Chandler. Lima's call to action is clear. If Makhachev won't defend soon, the UFC must create an interim title or strip him to preserve the sport's competitive integrity.
Belt, it's nothing excited. He's a good fighter, he's a good skills fighter, but I don't want to give him chance, I need second belt. They fight for what? For me, it's nothing. Just his name. I don't need his name. I need the belt.
The highly anticipated BMF title fight between Dustin Porier and Max Holloway at UFC 318 wasn't supposed to be public knowledge just yet. However, Chael Sonnen let the news slip during a live UFC 314 broadcast while sitting next to Porier, causing immediate backstage tension. According to reports, Porier received a text from UFC executive Hunter Campbell just seconds after the mention. The moment led to a confrontation between Porier and Sonnen, with the former feeling blindsided by the premature reveal. Sonnen defended his comment, stating the matchup was already common knowledge among insiders. Holloway had publicly called out Porier, and there were strong hints from the UFC. Still, the slip-up disrupted the UFC's promotional rollout and frustrated those involved, particularly Porier, who may have been hoping for a more controlled, perhaps emotionally meaningful announcement. This behind-the-scenes drama adds an extra layer of intrigue to the fight, especially considering Porier's respect for the moment as potentially the final bout of his storied career. While Dustin Porier is fully committed to his upcoming clash with Max Holloway, it wasn't his first choice for what might be his final fight. Porier had openly lobbied for a trilogy bout with Justin Gaethje, aiming to settle their 1-1 rivalry in what would have been a compelling and emotional send-off. Their rivalry had not only competitive stakes, but also a powerful narrative arc, ideal for a career-defining finale. However, the UFC had other plans. Despite Porier's wishes, the promotion saw greater promotional upside in pairing two fan-favorite veterans, Porier and Holloway, for a BMF title fight. With both fighters boasting enormous fan bases and a shared history, the UFC likely believed this matchup would draw more mainstream attention and generate a stronger emotional pull. Though the Gaethje trilogy would have made for a satisfying conclusion, the Holloway fight brings its own appeal. Still, the UFC's decision reinforces the reality that fighters often have limited control over matchmaking, especially when marketing potential is at stake. Machado Gary maintained his undefeated record at UFC Kansas City, but his performance drew more criticism than praise. Facing Carlos Prazeres in what was supposed to be a showcase bout, Gary started strong, using his slick movement and precision striking to control the early rounds. However, as the fight progressed, his gas tank visibly diminished. By the 4th and 5th rounds, Gary appeared fatigued and vulnerable, with Prazeres landing heavy shots and nearly finishing the fight. Though Gary ultimately earned a unanimous decision victory, many observers felt he was lucky to escape with the win. Nevertheless, Gary confidently declared himself ready for a welterweight title shot in his post-fight comments, asserting that he should be next in line. That bold proclamation didn't sit well with fans or analysts, who questioned whether such a shaky performance warranted a title opportunity. Gary's self-assurance, while admirable, seemed at odds with the reality of the fight. His latest showing may have kept his record intact, but it cast doubt on his readiness for championship-level opposition.
I was really happy. To be honest, I didn't expect that. I saw Jean training that choke many times, but I was expecting some knockout or something like that. But, the guillotine happened before, so we are really happy.
Sean Brady, the current top-ranked welterweight contender, didn't hold back when responding to Machado Gary's post-fight title aspirations. Appearing on a Brady Bag show, he called Gary's remarks delusional, arguing that barely surviving a fight doesn't make someone a title contender. Brady pointed out that Gary coasted for 3 rounds, then got beat up for 2, and still had the audacity to declare himself next in line. The Philadelphia-based fighter took particular issue with Gary's emphasis on taking short-notice fights, dismissing it as hollow bravado. You lost one and almost got finished in the other, Brady mocked. In Brady's eyes, Gary is being propped up by hype rather than substance, and the media narrative around him is misleading. Gary may have confidence and charisma, but Brady believes the actual performances don't justify a title shot. For Brady, who's put in years of work and just submitted former champion Leon Edwards, Gary's positioning feels like a slap in the face. One more example of hype overshadowing hard-earned merit. All right, that's a wrap on today's breakdown on a few major storylines that are rocking the MMA world right now.
I mean, I think Ian just thinks that he's to earth and he's not, and I feel like everyone in the sport feels the same way. I mean, I'll fight him. I'll fight Colby. I think Colby is the easiest matchup in the division. I'll piece him up on the feet.
Figurito's weight drama has fans nervous. Makhachev's division freeze is causing real frustration, and Dustin Porier might be walking to the octagon for the last time in a legacy fight fans will never forget. Meanwhile, the welterweight title scene is heating up, but controversy surrounds Ian Gary's fast-tracked role, especially with guys like Sean Brady putting in work and getting overlooked. This is why we love the fight game. The stakes, the stories, the chaos behind the scenes. It's not just about who's the toughest. It's about timing, politics, and making a statement when it counts. If you enjoyed the video, you will also like what YouTube is recommending right now. Drop a comment below with your take. Should the UFC strip Makhachev? Is Gary getting too much hype? And does Porier versus Holloway live up to the BMF title hype? We want to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that bell so you never miss another drop. Until next time, keep it locked and stay fight ready.